Hi there, how are you doing, guys? It's like my very first video in my channel, my YouTube channel, and yeah, pretty excited. Pretty excited to get started in this new endeavor. It's a little bit of a challenge, a little bit of marathon, and what's the whole point of it? It's just like sharing ideas almost on a daily basis. Well, ideally on a daily basis. Right. And like, what ideas? What are the ideas about? Well, they are my insights. So, insights, ideas, concepts, mindsets, right? Basically, this whole channel is about just two things: my mindset and the way it evolves, right? And like, just essentially sharing everything I know, everything I learn on a daily basis. And second, my transformation. I'm going to talk about my own use. I'm going to talk about interesting things that happen to me on a daily basis. And for you to understand, let me introduce myself. My name is Ali Team. I'm from Kazakhstan, Almaty, and I'm in my kitchen now. And you know what? I just I'm almost broke. Really, it's very interesting to listen to an individual who's almost broke, right? But like you may say like, oh my God, then you have so much confidence in yourself that you will make it in the next year or two or three. And I basically want to say exactly this, right? I believe I have enough mindset to rewire my life, to change it, to truly transform it over the course of just literally next 12 months even. And I'm going to show you, I'm going to report to you on a daily basis what's going on in my life. And that's also an interesting thing for me because I will be able to come back to all these videos and just analyze everything I said, everything I talked about. But the only thing about this whole thing is just it's going to be public, right? Because I really want everybody to sort of learn from my mistakes and also to get all these interesting, beautiful, wonderful ideas. So yes, that's pretty much it. And yeah, what else am I supposed to talk about in the very first video? I don't think it's just the very first video. I think it should be some sort of a trailer. So yeah, what I do for my living. Well, I'm an English teacher. It turns out I've been teaching English for the last 80 years, and it's kind of interesting, right? Because like I really want to reach out not only to the audience in Almaty in Kazakhstan, I apparently want to reach out to all around the world because obviously English is the language of the world, and I yeah, really want to connect. How did it happen that I'm an English teacher? Why am I not or like software engineer or something? Why am I not like, why am I doing exactly teaching English? Well, there is some background story about it. I'll definitely be able to talk about it later. But there's one thing I really want to highlight about teaching English, especially given the context that I'm here in Kazakhstan, is that English language gave me access to the world's best information, to the world's best mindsets. Oh, and let me show you something. For instance, okay, what time is it now? It is 7 a.m. 7 a.m. in the morning. Okay, looks like 5, but it's actually 10 minutes to 7. And you know, today is 19th of December. 19th of December, you can take a look at this. It is 19th of December and it is 7 a.m. Yes. So 19th of December, Almaty, GMT plus 5. It's pretty dark outside. You know, it's pretty dark. And so, what I was talking about? Yes. So basically, I wake up early in the morning to read books like this one, you know. And by the way, yeah, we are also going to cover interesting content from different cool books. It's in English, right? And you know, Jeff Bezos is a game changer. Honestly, he's one of my masters. I learn voraciously from people like him. So basically, what I'm trying to say is that English has given me access to the world's most beautiful mindsets. And then I realized one thing that that might be the first insight. However, no matter how obvious and maybe like trivial, but mindset is a currency. Mindset is the currency, and the reason is very simple. It is because we like, what matters in life? What is the most important thing in life? What is the meaning of it all? What is the meaning of life? I have figured out this. This is as simple as that. Maximize happiness in the long term. So if you want to maximize your happiness in the long term, well, let me correct myself. You don't wanna. You have no choice. This is what's in setting of every living creature. We all are here to maximize our happiness in the long term, right? And so since we're all slaves of this meaning of life, of this whole system called life, we do pretty much everything to maximize our own happiness in the long term. Now, how to do that? If happiness is the most important currency in our lives, then what are we supposed to do? Well, we definitely need to make decisions on a daily basis. Every single moment we make a decision about okay, am I supposed to continue reading this beautiful book, or out of nowhere start recording videos like this into my YouTube channel? It is a decision. And our life is made of decisions, literally, every single thing. Well, there are actions, right? There are decisions, there are actions. We'll talk about it in a separate video. But essentially, our life's quality depends on the quality of our decisions. And guess what? The quality of our decisions directly depends on the quality of our mindset. And it's all about mindset. How we think, what we think about, right? People say, you are what you spend your time on. You are what you spend your attention to. That's so true, right? That's so freaking true. Because that's exactly what defines your mindset. That's exactly what shapes your mindset. But also, the reverse is true. Your mindset defines these things. So I truly think it is worthy to devote time on a regular basis, on a daily basis, to learn stuff on mindset, but also to express yourself. And that's why activities such as this is very crucial to each of us. But I just decided to do that on public so that I have some sort of a commitment. And I built some sort of audience, really want to build some sort of global movement, global community. And I want to show that mindset is the currency. It's not just some theories. I'm going to talk to you about my real life, about the real actually changes in my real life. Another thing I want to talk about, I want to mention about myself is that I'm a dreamer. I am a dreamer. I really am. I really believe that dreams are not just some fantasies or your genuine goals that you want to pursue in the long term. Your deep things that you deeply want. From childhood or something you genuinely want for some reason. And let me share some of my dreams. One of them is just to perform on stage. I used to want to be something like Michael Jackson in Kazakhstan. We don't know whether I'll be able to fulfill this dream or not, but I love being on the stage and transmitting all these wonderful energy vibrations, to the audience and to see their reactions. I really consider myself as a performer in some degree. So I am a dreamer. Because it is my dream to be on the stage like a producer, DJ, or performer, singer or dancer. Yes, honestly. And the reason it is a dream is because what motivates me is not money in this case, right? I'm willing to do that for free, absolutely. Maybe at some point, even if I have enough money, I'll be able to pay people to give me this experience. But of course, it's going to be not authentic because, I want this for real. I want people to enjoy me on the stage, right? Not for money, but because they really love my music, because they really love the value that I'm creating for them. But I'm not going to do it for money. And it is my passion, and it is some result that I really want to accomplish deep inside. So I'm not driven by competition here. I don't really care about other musicians, artists, or something. I actually value them. I actually respect them, admire many of them. I have never had an idea to compete with other artists. So essentially what I'm talking about is motivation. And motivation is going to be one of the central, well, okay, maybe not central, but one of the big ideas of this channel. Because you will understand that motivation rules the world. And every time people say like, oh, motivation is for weak people, for losers, like you need to be disciplined. Those are essentially people who don't even understand what they're talking about. Because if you really think about what discipline is also motivation. It's just result-oriented motivation, okay? When you kick your ass off and you just say to yourself, go to the gym early in the morning, well, you still have motivation to go to the damn gym. The universe doesn't care, right? What's inside you? Do you enjoy the process of going to the gym early in the morning or you don't? If you go to the gym, you have the motivation to go to the freaking gym. And just because you human beings don't understand that, okay, it's not about understanding. Even the term motivation is just something that we coined ourselves, right? It's just the better way to see things. It's just a more right way to see things, objectively. Because you are just literally deluding yourself when you're saying like motivation is not important. Literally every single thing you do is motivation. And instead of labeling it as something that is wrong, you should understand it deeply. We should all understand it much more deeply. And that's what we're gonna do in our channel, in this channel as well. We're gonna explore all sorts of things. Another thing I want to highlight about myself is that I really want to be an artist, innovator, and a scientist. Well, I mean, I think innovator is somebody of a scientist with a little bit of more practicality, with like scientist who wants to apply things, right? And scientists, I think they are just people who want to discover and understand the world better. Scientists want to understand the world better. Artists, those who want to express themselves and express themselves. Those are artists. What am I doing here? I'm expressing myself, my emotions, my ideas. I'm a scientist because I observe things in the world and I make hypotheses, then I go and test them, or at least I observe how environment tests them, and then I make conclusions. And last but not least, I'm an innovator. I don't want just to be smarter. There's nothing worse in this world than just being smart and being broke and being poor and not bending the world and not making the best impact you can in the world. There's nothing worse than that, and I've experienced that many times. I hate this feeling when you think that you possess some sort of potential and it just stays there. It's terrible, right? It's literally terrible. Much better is not to be smart or is not to have any wisdom and just to live a normal life. But if you have this potential, you need to deliver value to the society. You need to make an impact. You need to make a big change. To whom much is given and much is expected, basically. More power, more responsibility, all this stuff. And so I genuinely believe that innovator is somebody who not only discovers something new, but also figures out how to apply it. So for me, when we talk about innovation, some people say like, you have to make something new. And I think it's a big misconception about innovation. My definition of innovation is not just something new or something different. You sometimes you don't have to make something new. Sometimes you make just something different just to use the old recombination of something old. Still, it's already gonna be new. Or, there is a Russian proverb, in Kazakhstan we have a lot of Russian culture from history, right? Russian culture, Russian language is a whole different topic, of course. But for now, I just want to mention a Russian proverb, which is what was this about? Oh my goodness. When you wake up early in the morning, your brain is not working fully 100%. Okay, so like basically when you're an innovator, you want to put things into practice, right? You don't want just things to be in theory, right? So this is another thing I wanted to mention about myself. But last but not least, I'm a business person, really. I'm a founder, I'm a business person, I'm a startup guy. So you will hear a lot about startups in this wonderful channel. Because, literally, I think that, sure, I mean, capitalism is not the best system, except for all others, right? But I genuinely believe that capitalism actually reflects life. You know, people say like, okay, capitalism is not life, right? But what life is jungle, right? Is competition, is who provides more that gets more, right? The strongest survival is the fittest, right? Stuff like that. Capitalism is a lot like this, but we are society, which is we're civilized society, right? We need to protect those who are weaker. We need to help them. We need to give them a chance. We need to think long term. We need to think large scale. And that's why, sure, there are strong men, strong people in a society, but the strongest should also protect the weakest. And so my belief is that capitalism can thrive. Sure, I mean, there's no single country that is 100% capitalistic, for sure. We all have governments. That's why mixed economies, sure. But my belief is that capitalists themselves, they should think long term. They should really understand that it is in their best interests to protect and to help weaker people, people with less potential and, of course, less money, to get higher in the society. It's in their best interests. It's a big topic. We will talk about it, but that's my genuine belief. And I want to be capitalist of that kind. I don't want to be like billionaire, trillionaire, right? If I had a choice, if I had like two choices, one is to become a trillionaire, and second is to be like everybody else, but because of me, the world's inequality would be so much less. Oh my goodness. In 10 out of 10, I would choose the second path. And I have chosen the second path. This is what I'm going to live my life according to. How it's going to translate into the future, we'll see. But like, and you see again what I'm talking about. It's not just about, I'm not just some guy in Kazakhstan who's just going to talk in his kitchen. Well, I mean, so far I am, but my plan is different, right? I will get out. I will get out. And probably one day you will hear about me. So I have ambitions, but I also have humility. And most importantly, I have kindness. So, the reason I brought up the topic of science and innovation is because, in business, is because two things. First, we're going to work on a whole new science, which we're going to call successics. I know. Yes, from the word success, right? And I know that success has become such a massive cliche, right? Especially in, I don't know, in Kazakhstan, I hear people, you know, rolling out their eyes because they're like, oh my goodness, like everybody on Instagram shows their successful life. That's for sure, right? And it's all a little bit delusional because of the whole wave of info business, right? I'm not sure whether in America or around the world it's, but I think there are elements of that everywhere, right? When you try to make a buck on selling some courses, however, you have never made money yourself and you just pretend to be rich. You buy some, or you rent some car, or you go to your friend who's rich guy or who's son of rich people, and you just ask him or her to give you time in the car, and you know, stuff like that. Success, in my terms, is just any result, right? And as you see, we want to think scientifically, we want to think a little bit abstractly, like mathematicians a little bit. And so successics is just science of success, right? Science of achieving the results you want. And hence it has to do with our, you know, reality, our civilization, our values, our conventions, but at the same time, it has to do with some objective things, absolute things. So I'm working on science like this, and this is one of my dreams, is to really develop such a science that would also be in one row with sciences like economics, or, you know, I draw a lot of inspiration from economics. I truly think like economics is a wonderful, wonderful, great discipline, great subject, and I truly want to make successics at least as valuable as economics for the society, for the world, for the history of humanity, whatever you call it. And that's what we're working on. Well, when I say we, I mean myself. However, I have a wife and a wonderful kid. By the way, those are my wife, my second heart, they call her second heart in the world, like in English, you call it significant one, right? And my wonderful child, daughter, those are two dreams that have come true, that I made come true. So that's why I always say we. But also because in my hand, there's a huge team behind me, really. Like, you see a huge team, you know, innovator, businessman, scientist, artist, like tons of people. And they work tirelessly to make the world a better place. So success is one thing, and second thing is respect movement. It is essentially, it's not something I make money on these days. Like I mentioned before, my main brand is English. I teach business English. I teach, by the way, founders, freelancers, and if you want, I can maybe help you as well. But I mean, the point is, like, not even English. The entry point is English. I tell people, look, I can help you to practice your English, right, so that you can get better and you can pitch your investors or something. But at some point, people realize that it's not about English. It is about mindset. It's about learning, right? Just in English. It has always been my mantra. We never study English, because if you want to study English, I mean, like, really, you need to study English at the early levels, right? Like elementary, pre-intermediate level, right? But when you're intermediate or higher, you just use it. All you gotta do is just use it, right? Because you kind of know the essential grammar, and that's it, right? You don't need to be absolutely, like, perfect, making no mistakes. Sure, you'll figure it out, right? But the most important thing is to practice and to get value from English already, right? That's the most important thing. And that's what I create for my students. I help them to maximize the value from the learning and from using the language. And so, but my new endeavor is going to be Prospect. Not just new, it's actually not new, it's actually very old. I've been doing it since 2017, not consistently, not systematically, and I'll talk about it again. I mean, again, I'm going to talk about it in a separate video, right? But, like, Prospect is a community I'm building, community of people, of dreamers who, really want to learn how to plan their lives strategically. I'm going to share my plans with you as well. Not too much, because I genuinely believe that there is a huge element of motivation, hidden there when you share or you don't share your plans, and how you share about your plans. But so you see, so much content is waiting for me in this channel, is waiting for you in this channel, right? But also, like, the whole idea of strategic planning of your life. I know very few. Oh no, I know nobody. I know very few people. I know some individuals, very few people who actually take strategic planning to their lives seriously. And the reason is very simple. The vast majority of people almost have nothing to plan. Not only because they don't know how, well, the primary reason people don't plan the future is because they say, like, I have no idea what the future holds, right? So planning is just essentially pointless, especially in the era of AI. But also they have no clue what they want themselves. And that's exactly what we do at Prospect. We plan our lives to understand ourselves better and to understand the world better. And apart from planning, we have traction, strategic traction. So we track your productivity and effectiveness. Those are two things which are motivated by motivation and quality of your decisions. And then we work on our mindsets. And it's all around masterminds and clubs, movements, so communities around you, so that you know that you're in the right company, in the right place, and at the right time. So that's my current main business, so to speak. I have so many other interesting plans, so many other interesting projects for the next year, for 2026. But I think this is more than enough for you to learn to know about me. So I hope that I made impression, not just a regular, ordinary guy in Almaty, Kazakhstan, but just some promising guy with a big mission, big values, and nice background. I do believe in my background. I do believe that I've done a lot. And I still believe that the reason I'm broke is because I'm just not doing the right things with my mindset. I'm just missing something. What I'm missing, what I'm going to do about it, I'm going to talk to you probably in my next video. Welcome to my channel. Follow, share, support me please, and see you next time.